The Vergas Show is brought to you by Spanky Stone Hearth, casual fine dining on beautiful Rose Lake. Vergas State Bank, your locally owned community full-service bank. Vergas Event Center for gatherings large or small, including weddings. Vergas Liquor Store, where all the profits profit Vergas.
Make the right call. Call Hanson's, the most trusted name in plumbing and heating.
Hi, welcome to the Vergas Show. I'm Sherri Hanson. Thanks for joining me today. I'm with Jerry and Kathy Johnson, and we're on beautiful Long Lake. I mean, you can't get much better than this. Jerry and Kathy, you must wake up in the mornings and just say, oh my, how did I end up here, right?
We feel very blessed.
Yes, and that's the best way to put it. We're gearing up for Loony Days here in Vergas, and so there's a lot of things going on August 11th through the 14th, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But anytime that you start gearing up for Loony Days, you look for people that are important in the community and represent it and have been part of it, and then you put their names in a hat, and then people talk about it, and those people become Grand Marshals of the parade. That's kind of how it's done. And this year, Jerry and Kathy Johnson here have become that Grand Marshal selection, and I think if anybody goes out on Facebook, they would see that everybody kind of agreed with the community club's selection on that. And so I guess what I'd like to talk to you guys about a little bit today is first the beginnings. How did you end up in Vergas?
Saw an ad in the paper for a resort for sale, and we came up and looked at it and came back and bought it.
That's awesome. Had you ever owned a resort before?
No, we hadn't. Our hopes were, I was at that time principal at Elbow Lake, and our goal was probably to get a farm. But in the 70s, farmland was unreal expensive. So we decided to look for a resort, and we'd driven through Vergas before, and we really thought it was a neat community. And so when we saw this place by Vergas on Long Lake, we come up and looked and went back and talked to the banker. He came up with us, and he says, if you don't buy it, I will.
You know, a lot of bankers say that, though, Jerry.
Oh, okay. I suppose you would know, Sherri.
But he was right. You ended up, and then who had it before you?
Harold and Violet Hoffman.
Yeah, Harold Hoffman had it, and so it's always been a staple here in Vergas. And how have you enjoyed resort life, not having ever been part of it? You just went headlong into it, right?
We did, and we've met a lot of very nice people, and they're like family, and they come back every year. And some of them have been here for 4 to 5 generations.
No way. Yeah. And so you were able to raise your family here. Now, did they all, tell me a little bit about your family, Kathy, and how they took part in the resort.
Well, they all had their little jobs. Mm-hmm. Brad was with the fish guts.
Okay, that works. Somebody's got to do the fish guts.
Lynn helped with the laundry. And, of course, when they got older, they had, the lawn mowing and sheet washing and trash carrying.
Okay, so you had Brad and then the other...
Lynn and Nathan.
And so I had the opportunity that Kathy helped me out when my oldest son now was little, Joshua, and she took care of him, and so he got a little bit of the resort life too. So there's a special connection for me down here too.
Yes, he was a very special guy. And still is.
So special. He's still special to us. He wrote us one of the nicest letters you could ever get when he was an adult.
Yeah, well, that makes me feel good too, Jerry. But what it also brings me into mind is the baseball years, because I remember you guys carting Josh around when he was part of the town team, bat boy. And so tell me a little bit about your baseball years, Jerry.
Well, I've been involved in baseball since I grew up in Bemidji, and then I taught in Ada and became part of the team and manager at Ada, and then we moved to Fergus Falls to teach, and I played with the Red Sox there at the same time I was principal at Elbow Lake. So Bill Richter, he used to stop there all the time. He sold things with typewriters, and he told me about Vergas having a team too. And the first year, in 1974, then when we bought the resort, I played baseball with Vergas, and it's been part of my life ever since. We built the ball diamond, and thanks to a good guy that donated $50,000, and we all know him well, and he didn't miss a game.
You know, Freddie, you're talking about Freddie Meyer, right?
Freddie Meyer,
Freddie
yes.
Meyer. And I remember those years too, Jerry. You know, when we were rock picking up there on those fields and getting them ready, and those were some very special times because you kind of became family. All the people that were a part of baseball.
Oh, definitely. And I think that's the reason I become a principal at Frazee, because a couple of the guys played on the baseball team that year were teachers at Frazee. And I thought, man, if there's people like that there, and I knew that there would be a retirement next year. Sig Pitts, who was there for years, had let everybody know that she was retiring. And so, yeah, it fit in good for family and friends.
Yes, and you fit in wonderful. Tell me a little bit about your principal job in Frazee, Jerry.
It was wonderful. I spent 20 years there, from 75 to 95. You couldn't have been in a district with better parents, and if you have good parents, you have good kids. And yeah, it was a very delightful time for me. And what's greatest about it is that we live here yet, and I still get to see, I call them the kids, but those aren't kids anymore. They're grown-ups, and they have their kids. So it's a good feeling to see. You didn't have to wait 20 years before you saw them. You saw them as they grew up.
Right. You know, when you talk about the generations and stuff, Kathy, and then we'll segue back into baseball a little bit, is you got to watch your sons play and then grandson. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it started out, Brad was the bat boy, and then it went to, Little League, Babe Ruth, Nathan, and Lynn was playing softball, so we went to a lot of baseball games. And
a lot of feature time.
Yes, and tonight watched Nathan play for a long time, and now tonight we're going to go watch our grandson, who's 10.
That's what it's about when you can create those memories, like from generations and things like that. And I think when your submission came in for Grand Marshal, many different people nominated you, and so it was an easy choice. But so many of them said, they're what Vergas is all about. Vergas is about family. Vergas is about generations of people doing things together and just being there. And you guys are just epitomize that completely.
Well, that's a great compliment, Sherri. But there's so many good people in Vergas that it's pretty simple to be like them.
Well, and then when we go back to when we're talking about Freddie Meyer, okay, let's go back to that a little bit, because when one of the new things that we're doing on the schedule of events for Loony Days, it's called the Voices of the Past Cemetery Tour. And one of the names that will be used and the gravestones that we'll visit is Freddie Meyer. And when we were researching that and looking back on such a humble man and leaving that amount of money to the city of Vergas, I was part of it, through my family. My dad was the estate provider for that, but it was a big thing for the baseball team to receive that money.
Oh, Sherri, it was forever good because the ball field's still there, and it'll be used. It still is. Right now we have the Babe Ruth play there and the Loons play there. But baseball, I think, has been here for hundreds and hundreds of years, and I got a feeling that Freddie Meyer's donation of that ball field, and I've tried to keep it up, but there's always more upkeep than one person can handle. But I've cut back, so I'm just charge of the infield now. well,
Jerry, but the number of years that you took care of that whole field and is what made it just a premier field in the area. And I'm with you on that too. I really think baseball is cyclical, where right now maybe there has not been as many games played as there used to be, but it's going to come back, and we're going to definitely have people on that field.
I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, and Freddie Meyer's up in heaven watching every game. He's cheering from those bleachers. I just know that he is.
Still handing out the dimes.
Yeah, handing out the dimes, because when they would go shake balls, and get those back, that used to be my kids' ice cream money.
Right.
They would have a contest for that. But, well, I really appreciate both of you, not only just being in the community, just the people that you are, but today I appreciate you as Grand Marshals. We'd like to give you Loony Days shirts. We've got those here for you. I know that you promote the town and you wear them with pride anyway, but make sure that you put Loony Days on your schedule. Make sure that you are at the parade on August 14th, and you'll see Jerry and Kathy ride through the parade and give them a nice wave. I appreciate you, Jerry.
We appreciate you, Sherri. All you do for this town is amazing. Not only for your dedication to things like this, but I can name 50 other things that you do, Sherri. So thank you for all you do for our community.
Well, I appreciate that, Jerry. There's a lot of people that make a lot of things happen. So thank you, Kathy.
Thank you, Sherri.
All right. You have a good day in Vergas and come to Loony Days.